How do you look at that? Being a white rapper in hip hop that's a predominantly black genre, and oftentimes people say you're a guest. How do you take that statement?
I think it's true. It is true. And I agree. If you look at the origin of where hip hop came from and what was happening in New York City and what was happening in the Bronx, and the way that black people and people of color have been treated historically in America from the jump. This was a music that was birthed out of oppression.
A lot of people made a big deal about the fact that after the Grammys, Macklemore posted your text message to him. Did you ever feel any way about him posting the text message or anything like that?
Yeah, I think it was uncalled for, to be 100 with you. When he sent it to me, I was like, okay, I can see him feeling that type of way because he a good dude. I think for confirmation from the world, you know, he probably felt like he had to put it out there, which he didn't need to do.
Maybe this world's not for me because I don't know what I'm doing here anymore. I feel nothing. And I think that that's the hardest part. I haven't really spoke about this.
There was once a time about a decade ago when you literally couldn't walk 3 feet without bumping into something Macklemore-related. The Seattle rapper's catchy tune, Thrift Shop, was everywhere, dominating the charts like a viral sensation you couldn't escape. And just when you thought it couldn't get any bigger, Macklemore dropped Can't Hold Us, followed by Same Love, which became an anthem for LGBTQ+ rights and cemented Macklemore's place as a cultural icon. He was everywhere, on magazine covers, TV shows, and his tracks were all over movie soundtracks. His album, The Heist, went multi-platinum, and alongside Ryan Lewis, he was hailed as one of the best new independent artists. But then everything came crashing down. The industry seemed to turn its back on him, and guess who was right in the middle of the drama? Kendrick Lamar. Now don't get it twisted, Kendrick wasn't the villain in this story. It was the Grammys' fault, and hip-hop fans' over-the-top outrage didn't help either. But fast forward to today, and Macklemore has made a surprising comeback. While he's no longer chasing the spotlight, he's definitely earned back respect for staying humble and addressing important issues that most of y'all's faves are too scared to touch.
But there's innocent humans out in Gaza getting our dollars, and those precious human lives are an extension of us. I can't get up here in a fur coat, jump around and pretend while in my gut's saying you know better, Ben. The ancestors yelling you better step up for us.
So what exactly happened to Macklemore? Were the industry and fans unfair to him? And what's he up to these days? Let's dive in and find out.
Hip-hop is inclusive, so there's always been an open door to a certain extent. In certain moments, it was a little bit harder to push it open back in the 90s, but I'm a guest. M's a guest. Doesn't matter how good we get, doesn't matter how great Eminem is, we're guests in the culture. 100%.
Macklemore, whose real name is Benjamin Hammond Haggerty, grew up on Capitol Hill in Seattle. And get this, he took ballet as a kid just to stand up for another kid getting bullied thanks to his social worker mom's advice. He went to Garfield High School, and while he started rapping, he also got into drinking. For a while, those two went hand in hand. By the time he hit college, he was experimenting with mushrooms. And in 2005, he dropped his first album, The Language of My World, which gave him a little street cred and helped him build his local fan base. Around this time, he met producer Ryan Lewis, and they decided to DIY their music career. They were all in. T-shirts, posters, word of mouth. Eventually, major labels took notice as Macklemore's popularity soared, and he started selling out shows nationwide. But instead of signing with a big label, they struck a distribution deal with Alternative Distribution Alliance, a branch of Warner Music Group. That move got their music into stores and onto Warner Brothers Radio. And just like that, their career took off. Can't Hold Us and Thrift Shop both hit #1 in the Billboard Hot 100. And their album debuted at #2. It was 9 years of hustling, but they made it. Fast forward to January 26, 2014, and Macklemore and Ryan Lewis won not 1, but 4 Grammy Awards, including that for Best Rap Album, in the category that included Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, Kanye's Yeezus, Jay-Z's Magna Carta Holy Grail, and Drake's Nothing Was the Same.
And the Grammy goes to? Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. Whew.
Wow, we're here on this stage right now. First and foremost, I want to thank our fans, the people that got us on this stage. Before there was any media, before there was any buzz about us, before there was a story, there was our fans, and it spread organically through them. So without them, there would be no us. Shout out to everybody repping worldwide. I want to say thank you to my beautiful fiance, my parents, my manager, and our team that puts together this music, that sacrifices everything for this art, countless hours in the studio, on stage, and everyone that made this album what it is. I love you guys. And I want to say, we made this album without a record label. We made it independently, and we appreciate all the support.
Out of those 5 albums that were nominated that year, The Heist was the underdog no one saw coming. And as you could imagine, the hip-hop world totally lost its mind with everyone claiming Kendrick was robbed. Now granted, Macklemore winning Best Rap Album over Kendrick's Good Kid, Mad City was indeed cray-cray. And even Macklemore himself thought Kendrick should have won. In fact, a couple of weeks before the Grammys, Macklemore was interviewed by Source magazine. And when they asked him, what if he wins and Kanye spazzes out and says it should have gone to someone else, Macklemore responded, then he's got a point. We're up against Kendrick, who made a phenomenal album. If we win a Grammy for Best Rap Album, hip-hop is going to be heated. I think it should go to Kendrick. He's family. TDE is family, and I understand why hip-hop would feel like Kendrick got robbed. Macklemore went on to say that he's a huge supporter of what Kendrick does, and because of that, he would prefer it if he won in a different category. He also added, we obviously had massive success on commercial radio, and I think that in ways, The Heist was a bigger album, but Kendrick has a better rap album. And then, following his controversial win, Macklemore talked to Hot 97 Morning Show, and he acknowledged that Kendrick was robbed.
So listen, I've been ranting and raving all morning about how the Grammys snubbed Kendrick Lamar, and as a white guy, it's one of those moments that feels a little embarrassing, where you feel like white people were given something yet again that we shouldn't have been given. So I thought, who better to ask about this than the Grammy winner himself, Macklemore.
Try being the guy that won that award.
So what did that feel like, dude? I know how strongly you felt about Kendrick's album.
It's the blessing and the curse, a little bit more the curse. You know, when we got like when we were at the nominations and the nominations come out, you know, first and foremost, Kendrick is a friend of mine. He's somebody that I love his music, and in my opinion, had the best rap album of the year. And knowing how the Grammys usually go, I knew that there would be a great chance that we would win that award and in essence, rob Kendrick. So that's what happened tonight. It kind of sucks. I mean, I think we made a great album. I think that Kendrick made a better rap album. And that's what it is.
Macklemore also explained how the Grammys voting process is completely skewed, and people who don't know anything about hip-hop are voting for Best Rap Album.
So, Macklemore, this is E-Bro. How you doing, man? Congratulations, bro.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, so is you winning that category, do you believe that it's racial? If you believe that Kendrick should have gotten it, is that what makes it awkward for you? Is that the curse you talk about?
You know, what makes it awkward for me is the fact that you never want to be the person that is robbing somebody else. And I think that if you look at what the Grammys are, I mean, I think that what people don't understand is what the Grammys are is a bunch of people that are on the Grammy committee or in the industry, they hit a ballot. And I got a ballot this year. Now, as I'm filling out the ballot, I'm realizing I don't know much outside of the genre of hip-hop in terms of who should get what award.
Right.
So I'm like, you know, I don't really know about, like, you know, singer-songwriter or, you know, country music or whatever, but people are filling out bubbles of genres that they don't know about. And that's the process of it. So it makes sense.
Because your name and
those
your
three
success.
records, the 3 huge records that everyone knew had to play a factor.
Exactly.
Too.
Right. And
that's the fact right there. Our name was big this year, as was Kendrick, but in terms of the people that are voting on those ballots, that are filling out those bubbles, we have an unfair advantage due to race, due to the fact that we had huge radio success, due to the fact that our name was circulating more in a pocket of the industry of people filling out that ballot.
Right.
This is not like a rap radar poll. This is not like a 2 Dope Boy poll. This is not a Hot 97 poll.
Right.
This is the Grammys. This is many different types of people, all different age groups, filling out a ballot where they might not necessarily know the genre.
Now, Macklemore spoke straight facts on how biased the Grammys are. We've seen it time and time again with different artists. Back in 2006, the Emancipation of Mimi lost Album of the Year to U2, and Bono even apologized to Mariah in his acceptance speech.
Mariah, you sing like an angel, really something else. And what about Gwen? This is the heart of Hollywood. She's like Carol Lombard. It's like, she's this extraordinary girl. I don't know what to say. This is really a big night.
Or how about how the fact that Kanye's 2010 certified classic, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, didn't even get a nomination for Album of the Year. Instead, Adele won the award, beating Rihanna, Bruno Mars, Foo Fighters, and Lady Gaga. And then more recently, The Weeknd publicly slammed Grammys when his critically acclaimed album, After Hours, didn't receive a single nomination. In an interview with Billboard, Abel said, "I use a sucker punch as an analogy because it just kind of hit me out of nowhere. I definitely felt things. I don't know if it was sadness or anger. I think it was just confusion. I just wanted answers like, what happened? We did everything right, I think." The Weeknd went on to explain that it wasn't about him being cocky or arrogant, and he hinted that there's a much bigger issue going on behind the scenes. He said, "Look, I personally don't care anymore. I have 3 Grammys, which mean nothing to me now, obviously. It's not like, oh, I want the Grammy. It's just that this happened and I'm down to get in front of the fire as long as it never happens again. In the last 61 years of the Grammys, only 10 black artists have won Album of the Year. I don't want to make this about me. That's just a fact." So it's totally understandable that hip-hop fans were upset over Macklemore winning over Kendrick, because this is something that's been going on since the Grammys started way back in 1958. And what made the whole situation worse was Macklemore's decision to post a screenshot of his apology to Kendrick on social media. After his Grammy win, Macklemore took to his Instagram to share a screenshot of a text message he sent to Kendrick, apologizing and saying Kendrick had been robbed. The text read, "You got robbed. I wanted you to win. You should have. It's weird and sucks that I robbed you. I was gonna say that during the speech, then the music started playing during my speech and I froze. Anyway, you know what it is. Congrats on this year and your music. Appreciate you as an artist and as a friend. Much love." And in the caption of his post, Macklemore wrote, "My text to Kendrick after the show. He deserved Best Rap Album. I'm honored and completely blown away to win anything, much less 4 Grammys. But in that category, we shouldn't have won in my opinion. And that's taking nothing away from the Heist, just giving Good Kid, Mad City its proper respect." Some people thought this came off as cringy and kind of forced. And instead of calming the storm, it just made fans turn on Macklemore even more. I mean, let's be real. Anytime you post an apology on social media, people will think it looks fake. Even though Macklemore probably meant well, people thought he really should have kept the message private. And even Drake had to insert himself in the situation. And he said Macklemore's apology was whack as fuck. "That ish was whack as fuck," Drake told Rolling Stone. "I was like, you won. Why are you posting your text message? Just chill. Take your W, and if you feel you don't deserve it, go get better. Make better music. It felt cheap. It didn't feel genuine." But in hindsight, how hilarious is it that Drake, of all people, was out there criticizing someone for not being genuine? And yes, Macklemore sharing that message was a bad move, but can you really blame the guy for trying to diffuse the craziness surrounding his Grammy win? People were acting like he slapped Kendrick in the face and snatched the award right out of his hands. Macklemore probably thought that by sharing the apology, folks would just chill out and realize that it was the Grammy committee's vote, not his own doing. But instead, it just added fuel to the fire, making the whole situation even messier. As for Kendrick, he mentioned that Macklemore should have just kept the message to himself, but he also said that there are no hard feelings, and he made it clear that he knew Macklemore was a genuine dude.
A lot of people made a big deal about the fact that after the Grammys, Macklemore posted your text message to him. And we talked to Macklemore the next day, and we knew his heart was sincere. Did you ever feel any way about him posting the text message or anything like that?
Yeah, I think it was uncalled for, to be 100 with you. When he sent it to me, I was like, okay, you know, I could see him feeling that type of way because he a good dude. But I think for confirmation from the world, you know, he probably felt like he had to put it out there, which he didn't need to do. He didn't need to do, but I don't take nothing away from him anyway because I know where his heart is at. He cool. He a cool dude, but you know, sometimes the card folds like that when you.
Well, and I think he felt bad, man. And honestly, I don't know if a lot of people know, he came on Hot 97 before he won, and said that he thought that, you know, he was gonna end up getting the award because of things that he
didn't believe he deserved. And then he came back on afterwards and said the same thing again.
Yeah.
Like, he really felt like you had the best album. And I think everybody knows the politics of it, where it was just kind of like, here's this white kid who had top 40 success. So he was kind of on the radar of all the old people that vote in the Grammy Academy.
Yeah, definitely. But, you know, it all boils down to how I feel. And, you know, winning awards and accolades is great, but it's not confirmation of success for me. You know what I'm saying? Going out here and looking at a kid that say, this song changed my life. I was going to do something to myself last night, you know, but I popped this tape in. That's confirmation. You know what I'm saying? So
The fact that he just said tape is why I love this guy.
real talk.
Ain't no kids popping in your tape. They didn't press up the tape.
Yeah. But yeah, so I look at it like that, man, and you know, gotta move on from it and continue to make music.
Now fast forward to now, and Macklemore is in a totally different space. Both he and Kendrick have moved on from that Grammy controversy a long time ago. And these days, Macklemore is more focused on his activism than trying to be the best rapper. Macklemore recently made his stance clear in his new song, Heinz Hall, where he voices his support for the pro-Palestinian protests happening across U.S. campuses. The track is named after Hind Rajab, a 6-year-old Palestinian girl killed by the IDF in the Gaza Strip on January 29, 2024. Heinz Hall calls for divestment from Israel and advocates for a ceasefire. And Macklemore also takes shots at the music industry for staying quiet on the issue and calls out President Biden for his support of the Israeli government and military. This is why fans are starting to see Macklemore in a whole new light. And they're saying he definitely deserves some major respect because, unlike most mainstream artists, he's not afraid to speak up on big issues. One fan said, "I feel bad for Macklemore because the full wrath should have been solely on the Grammys. One win would have raised an eyebrow? That much of a sweep? Those boys were bugging." And another person added, "Mac is doing all right, probably where he wants to be. So I wouldn't be surprised if the very powerful people against that would also be suppressing his career." But what's your take on all the drama with Macklemore and the Grammys? Were hip-hop fans way too hard on him, or was the backlash deserved? Drop your comments below and make sure you stick around for this next video.